Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kenowa, your media man, and today we are going to be talking to the Electoral Commissioner of the University of Ghana Student Representative Council and the PRO of the Electoral Commissioner to clear some doubts you all are having with regards to the 2023 UGSRC elections. And so with me here is
I'm Noani Afute Odai, First Deputy SRC Electoral Commissioner.
Okay, and
I'm Saidu Rashid. I'm the PRO for the commission.
Okay, right, that is fine. So we are going to be finding out what exactly is happening with regards to this year's UGSRC elections. You all know that the processes to the elections have started, and we have had some candidates who have been disqualified from the race, and there has been so much controversy with regards to what is happening. So today they are going to clear all the doubts you have, and so we will start off with the First Deputy EC, and he will tell us exactly what happened, especially on the vetting day, because that is where I think most of the controversies are coming from. Yeah, so Mr. EC, what exactly happened?
Thank you very much, and then I'll give me the opportunity to also thank your viewers. Yeah. So actually what transpired during the vetting was that on the 15th of July, we were supposed to have the presidential and the junior secretary and the treasurer vetting. Okay. Then what happened was that we were supposed to start the vetting around 5 p.m. Okay. That was the official communication we gave to the aspirants. But unfortunately, Dean of Students told us that the place has been booked by a group of people.
That is the Union building, the SRC Union building. The Dean is in charge of the SRC Union building. Okay.
Yes, so she pleaded that we should extend the starting time to maybe 8 o'clock, 8:30. But unfortunately, like I said, they delayed us and then they ended the program around 9:30.
Okay.
So they vacated the venue around 10 o'clock. Okay. And we began the process. So through to that, I was sitting because I wasn't part of the vetting panel. Okay. So I was charged.
Hold on. What time exactly? What is the exact time the vetting started?
10:30.
10:30.
Yes, please. So because I wasn't part of the vetting panel, I was charged to be at the entrance to ensure that those who are not authorized will not have access to the place. Okay. Because we decided to control the crowd and then the noise making and all that. Okay. So that is it. So we sat there, and aside that, one of my duty was to make sure that the aspirants register their name on the attendance sheet. Most of the aspirants came, the general secretary, the treasurer, and some of the presidential aspirants. They came and registered, and I was there throughout. I didn't see Gideon, I didn't see Rahman, so I'm very, very surprised to hear them say that they were there and they were not allowed, and we were not able to vet them and all that. I'm very, very surprised.
So you are saying on authority that throughout the vetting process that you say started at 10:30 p.m., they did not show up to the following morning?
Yes, I can say this with all confidence because I was outside and I was responsible to make sure that the aspirants register their name before they enter or before they get access to the union.
Okay, so is it the case that they came, you said the program, the vetting was supposed to start at 5 p.m. Yes. Is it the case that they came around the 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. or somewhere between 5 p.m. and 10:30 when you started? Is it the case that they came around that time and you were not ready to vet them and they went back, or they didn't show up at all?
That isn't the case. I was there exactly 5 p.m. and I didn't see them. Okay. I didn't see them throughout in the program.
Okay. All right, so that is the Electoral Commissioner telling us what exactly transpired on the vetting day. And so we are going to be talking to the PRO who will give us more details on what happened on that day and after that, the petitions and the court injunctions that are followed throughout the process. He will give us more details on that. So, Mr. PRO.
Thank you very much. Yeah. It is very saddening that actually we find ourselves in such a very unwarranted situation today. Let me state it categorically, clear, without any form of ambiguity, that the Electoral Commission is not after anybody. Okay. The Commission is simply exercising its constitutional duties, just as the Constitution has mandated it. Let me also say, without any fear of contradiction, that there is nowhere in this world that you would want to go for a substantive position or a substantive job opportunity where you would not have to go through some necessary and sine qua non process like interview or for vetting.
Okay.
So all of us know how important it is for it to have said that you've gone through a vetting processes. Let me give you a classical example. It was very saddening that they said they came around the Union building and all of that. Personally, I left the Union building around 7:30 a.m. That was when I ordered my boat and left campus to Medina. And as at when I was leaving, I didn't see any of them around the Union building.
Okay.
And my commissioner made me understand that they rather met Rahman at Valco.
Okay.
Even most of the members who were the panelists also attested to same that they met him around Valco. You and I know that Valco is not Union building.
Okay.
And so when you come to Valco, you are not at the Union building.
Is it the case that when they met him, he was on his way coming to be vetted? Or what was he coming for? Why was he at Valco?
He claimed he was actually on his way coming to the Union building to be vetted. As at that time, the panelists have closed. They all have other engagement, important engagement to do.
Okay.
And so they are students, and so they had to disperse. And so in their dispersionary processes, that's when they met him around Valco.
Okay.
And we can attest. So just as I had said earlier, Mr. Kenua, there is no serious institution that you would go to seek for a job position or a portfolio or something that they will say that come for vetting or interview and you don't come, and then you still expect to still go through the processes and for you to be accepted. Let me give you a classical example. You apply for a job at ABSA and they ask you to come for interview at 7 a.m.
Okay.
On your way going, let me give them the benefit of that. I've seen them peddling some inconsistent falsehood.
Okay.
That it was because Rahman's stomach was he had an upset and all of that. We all accept that indeed there could be some unforeseen events.
Okay.
And we can actually accept to that fact. But if you apply to a job and on your way to the interview there is an unforeseen event, every locomotive thinking human being, what would the person have done? The person would have immediately reached out to those that he was going to be interviewed. Ask him to be sincere as to whether when he had issues with his stomach he reached out to even the panel members or the electoral commission. Nothing like that happened. This even tells us that this is a well cooked and inconsistent falsehood that is being peddled around.
Consistent, inconsistent. Okay.
Yes, because if I'm on my way to ABSA for a job interview, I find myself in an unforeseen event. Every locomotive thinking human being will reach out to them and tell them that the ABC had happened.
So aside the fact that they said he had stomach upset, what were the other reasons they gave for his absence?
Did I hear my brother some weeks ago engaging some students on campus on why, and likely, unfortunately for him and luckily for me, those that he actually engaged were my good friends.
Okay.
And he told them that it was a cooked agenda that the ECs actually they were targeting him, and so it was not as if he didn't come.
There was this allegation that said that they refused to come for the vetting because the panel members were NDC. How true is that?
If that is true, I'm not saying it's true because I can't really authenticate to that as from where I sit and stand. But if that is true, then I'm disappointed in him. Just as I've given a classical example, you are going for a job interview, and because you know that these are the people who are going to interview you, you are not from, you don't, but like they don't agree, or you and them don't agree on a different, like on the same premise with respect to political ideologies, and as a result of that, you won't go for the interview. Who are you doing them disservice, or you are doing yourself disservice? So if that is true, then I think my brother should then again check how he actually thinks. I think he would require some psychological attention if it is true.
That was a bit harsh, but
no, but you see, we need to call a spade a spade, because this is actually a serious matter. And from where I sit and stand, my duty is very simple: is to protect the integrity of the commission.
Okay.
So if anyone would want to joke with the integrity of the commission, I simply would not take it lightly on such an individual.
Okay.
After the whole thing happened, every locomotive thinking human being again would have quickly done what? Reach out to the commission and apologized.
Yeah.
Every locomotive, like thinking human being, would have done that.
Can you be a bit moderate with your statements?
That's fine. But that also didn't happen.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, we were there days after, and they didn't court that we've been petitioned. A petition has been brought to her that we've refused to vet Rahman and Gideon. Let me state it clearly. They were not the only ticket who didn't come for vetting.
Okay.
Did someone ever bother to ask what happened to Fefe and Co? Why are they also not making noise? Because they know the structures. They know what the constitution says. The EC cannot put you out as
so
as
Fefe and Derek?
No, Fefe and Isaac Dekbo.
Okay. They didn't show up for vetting. Okay.
And so for them, they know that this is what the constitution says.
Okay.
Okay. And days ago, I heard my brother Rahman saying that Fefe reached out to him that he has withdrawn. Each one of us seated here know that if an aspirant wants to withdraw from a race, there is a process. What does he do? He writes to the commission. Fefe has never written to the commission.
Okay.
And Rahman doesn't stand any authority for him to be written to, for him to come and tell the public that Fefe has withdrawn. Okay. He doesn't have that impetus. He doesn't have that authority. It is the commission that the candidate or aspirant must write to that at this particular juncture, I'm actually rescinding my decision.
Okay, so
And
the petition,
like
let's talk about the petition. What was the substance of the petition?
When we were caught, even at the dean's office, he still decided to peddle inconsistent falsehood. And at the end of the day, the outcome of even that conclave meeting was not even satisfactory to him. These were some of the things he made mention, he alleged in the petition.
Okay.
And pardon me to read. He said that they were a few minutes late, himself and his vice president.
Okay.
Himself and his vice president were a few minutes late. 1. 2. I quickly rushed and picked a car to the vetting premise where my vice president was already there. Someone who in the same petition said himself and his vice president were late.
Okay.
It's now telling us that his vice president was there already.
Well, it could be that maybe the vice president was there but late and he was coming later. So
we are talking about English language.
No problem. Let's take it that is what he's trying to communicate.
Okay, that's fine.
But then let's continue with.
That's fine. But I'm happy they've accepted that they were late.
No problem.
Even though nobody saw them around the premise of the union building.
So even their acceptance that they were late is false because they were not just late, but they didn't show up.
They didn't show up at all.
Okay, it's not like they showed up, but they were late.
So this is the first inconsistency I'm actually talking about. And he said, though upon my arrival, my vice president told me that the decision by the Electoral Commission being able to vet us was not able to vet us because I was late for that few minutes. And then again he said, I even suggested that even if they couldn't vet us that morning, they could reschedule for us at another available
was
time.
the vetting supposed to be, was it on the 15th? What was the date? Was it supposed to be on the 15th or on the 16th?
It was supposed to be on the 15th.
So they were supposed to come on the 15th.
Exactly.
And that if, let's say, you are not able to go to do everything within time, it will extend into 16th. But they came in the morning, on the morning of the 16th.
They claim they came on the morning. It's
Okay.
not, let us not put it as if they came.
Okay.
They claim they came because no one saw them there. Even the registration officer didn't see them
Okay.
there. Yeah. So what's the point that they are saying that they actually
Let's
came
continue
there?
with the petition.
And so they also said in their petition that it should be on record that myself and my vice president availed ourselves for the vetting, except for the few minutes late that was due to stomach pains I had. This is another inconsistency, and I made mention. And I said earlier that any normal human being, if there is an unforeseen event, what do? You reach out. We are all humans.
Yes.
I would understand that it is out of control. It is beyond your control that this has happened. I would have that pity and accept. But you didn't reach out to. So this even tells us that this is even a forged excuse. It's not even true. It doesn't hold water.
Okay.
Because if it is true, and I know that this is what I want, and this is what I'm actually chasing for, I would reach out to the vetting panel. You've been an aspirant before, and you've been a candidate before. Put yourself in your shoes, and you find yourself in a situation where you had a stomach ache, or you had a stomach upset. What would you have done? Tell the people what you have done.
You would have I mean, you have to communicate. But then, let's put that aside. You went to the dean
Exactly.
to discuss the substance of the petition.
Exactly.
What were some of the things that the dean said?
The dean made them aware the importance of the structure of vetting, what vetting is about.
Okay.
You cannot be put out. The constitution is clear. When you go to the other rules and regulations, 4A, it's clear that you cannot be put out as a candidate by the commission if you are not being vetted. You are just an aspirant, and you and I know the differences between an aspirant and a candidate.
Okay.
An aspirant cannot be on a ballot paper or ballot screen. It is not possible unless you become a candidate certified by the Electoral Commission, and the only way the commission can certify you is by vetting you and certify you before
So
you
the decision,
define yourself.
what the dean said is that they will not be allowed.
We can't go back. We were going by a calendar. We had a calendar that we were going back. So if you are to go back, are you trying to retrospectively punish those who are to come and sit throughout the night? Your own colleague aspirant then, who had to sit throughout the night till morning for them to be vetted. Are they telling us they are better than them in any way? Please, this is some kind of joke.
There was an interview on Radio Universe where they explained what happened. What they said at that interview, is it consistent with what the petition
That's what
says?
I was saying.
And
That
how authentic is the petition you have? The copy you just read to us.
the petition is very authentic.
Yeah.
You can reach out to the office of the Dean of Students and they would authenticate this for you.
Okay.
And I won't come and sit here to peddle any falsehood. I don't have any interest whatsoever. But my interest as I sit here simply is to protect the integrity of the commission.
Okay.
So my brother went on air, and even on the day, that very day, you know, there was an appeals meeting between the dean, the vice dean, the candidate, the electoral commission, the supposed judicial board, leadership of the
we'll talk about the judicial board.
Exactly. I just wanted to make reference to that. Exactly. I just wanted to make reference with that. On that same day when we were supposed to have that meeting, my brother Raman went on Radio Universe, and when I was listening to him, I began to shudder. I began to pity the kind of politicking he's actually taking all these things to. It was very sad that the same person who has said that he was a few minutes late had sat on Radio Universe and stated clearly that when he picked the car, it was as if the car was moving and it wasn't moving, so he wasn't able to make it. This same person who said in the petition that he rushed.
When the car delayed and he wasn't able to come, he didn't send any message indicating that he was on his way.
He didn't reach out to anyone.
Okay. No problem. Let's continue.
And you asked of the inconsistencies between what he said on Radio Universe and the petition, and I'm giving you classical example. And I have audio of him because I recorded it. When he was actually speaking, I recorded, and I can share that audio to you. The same person who stated that immediately his vice presidential candidate called in, he rushed to the Union building, said on Radio Universe that when he picked the taxi was as if it was moving, it wasn't moving. And so he couldn't make it to the Union building.
Okay.
Clear inconsistency. The same person, when he was still making advancements on his argument on Radio Universe, the same person who said he was a few minutes late on Radio Universe said that he met the commissioners and some of the panel members and even mentioned certain names as his witness, said that he met them at Valku. The same person who said he was a few minutes late to the vetting, meaning he came to the Union building, right? This same person has sat on Radio Universe and said that he met the EC and some other panel members at Valco. Please, this is crass inconsistency in his explanation. And I don't think any serious thinking person should take such a figure seriously. It is just a mere agenda to make the commission look bad. But let me ensure the discerning student listening to us today that the commission is resolute to ensure a credible, free and fair elections, and transparency must have a play in this upcoming elections.
Let's talk about the court injunction and the judicial board and what happened. You didn't obey the injunction. What were your reasons?
Thank you very much. I believe that we're all in this school and we know what the Constitution says with respect to the judicial board and all of that. Mr. Noah, we're here in this school when the General Assembly made a release that the judicial board is defunct due to some reasons. One has to be with there is no.
You are a General Assembly member.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
A proud one.
Okay.
One, no Chief Justice has been appointed by this current administration. And you and I know that it is impossible for someone calling himself acting Chief Justice to sit on substantive matters.
Okay.
It's just like telling me that when Tukono was nominated by President Akufo-Addo, she can go and sit on substantive matters. It is not possible.
Okay.
She has to go through the legislative procedures. That's by her being vetted, she being vetted, and after which she'll be voted upon consensus and all of that before she's been outdoored as a Chief Justice and all of that. This is a proceeding that we mimic here.
Yeah.
And so this was supposed to happen. Nothing like this happened.
Okay.
And I can tell you that there were 2 sittings where we had to cancel those sittings because it was stated on the order paper that we were supposed to appoint and approve, we were supposed to approve and swear in the Chief Justice and the legal advisor. These figures never appeared in the House.
Okay.
And I can get you the minutes for you to see that these 2 figures never appeared to be approved by the General Assembly. So on what authority are they actually operating? And then again, with respect to the members who form the judicial board, yes, we are not saying the members are not in existence.
Okay.
We understand that every Chief Justice of every hall comes to form and become a member.
Yeah.
But even with that, they must subscribe to an oath. And so if you don't subscribe to that oath in the 6th section of the SRC Constitution, on what authority do you also operate? And so these were some of the reasons why we made the General Assembly made an argument that that board is a defunct. And you and I know that you cannot work when a defunct board gives you a directive.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. We can't go by the rulings of a defunct board.
Okay.
When we went to the office of the Dean of Students, she made it clear to them that this is true, thereby the judicial board is defunct and they must be sworn in. Okay. She made it clear to them. And at the just ended meeting, let me finalize. At the just ended meeting, she said that for whatever the injunction that they've placed on the election is null and void.
Okay.
Because the board is defunct. She clearly said that. And we are working with the Constitution. And as a result of that, we must obey the Constitution as such and uphold it in its highest esteem.
Yeah.
So let nobody come and sit anywhere and deceive people and be making some fallacious statement and make it look like the commission is recalcitrant and doesn't want to obey certain rulings and all of that.
Yeah.
If the board is defunct, how do we go by the rulings of a defunct board? It is impossible.
I see. So that was the reason why you decided not to obey the court's injunction. So yeah, students, this is the SRC PRO telling us what exactly happened with Rahman and Gideon, who were vying to become SRC president of the University of Ghana, and so they have been disqualified. And today there was a release. In that letter, you indicated that they were not going to be allowed back into the elections, and you also spoke about some other candidates like Akula, who has been disqualified, and I think Fefe and some other candidates. What happened? Why did you disqualify those candidates?
Thank you very much. So just as I made mention earlier, there was actually an appeals meeting to put, which had the Dean of Students, the Deputy Dean of, the Assistant Dean of Students, the SRC executives, the leadership of the General Assembly, candidates, the Electoral Commission, the quote and unquote defunct judicial board, our legal counsel was also there, the Electoral Commissioner's legal counsel was also there, the purported Chief Justice was also there, the purported legal advisor was also, they were all these stakeholders were actually at the meeting, and it was unanimously agreed that after examining the inconsistencies in the explanation from the camps of Rahman and Gideon, they were not going to be allowed to come back into the race.
Okay.
And secondly, we had Akiola, whose vice actually didn't meet the CGPA requirements and all of that. they are also not going to be allowed. We have Prof. Derek Ampong, whose vice also didn't meet the CGPA requirement, and as a result of that, they actually also not going to be allowed and all of that. So this was a unanimous decision that was actually taken.
I think Akiola petitioned also. What were some of the reasons he gave?
He feels that Akiola feels that he has actually been treated unfairly. But it is very sad that today, because of some kind of interest, people have failed woefully to understand the word fairness and unfairness. Let me give you a classical example. And when my brother Raman also, it cuts across all of them.
Okay.
They are all moving around on the premise that their political rights have been taken away from them and all of that. Mr. Kenoa, the 1992 Constitution gives us a right to education. True or false?
Yeah.
True or false?
Yeah, true.
Good. Now, everyone should take this classical example very seriously. Because the 1992 Constitution has given us the right to education, so when you come to school, you not learn. And when you fail, you take the school to court for failing you because you've not been responsible to pass your academics. So this goes to tell us that the 1992 Constitution, even giving us a right, also admonishes us to be responsible with respect to our actions.
Yes.
And so, if you are claiming that today your political rights have been taken from you, have you forgotten that you've also displayed crass irresponsibility? Where were you? Why did you fail to ensure that your running mate CGPA was not up to? And with Raman saying that his political right has been taken away from him and all of that, that was how he was actually speaking to the dean. And like I made mention, so because 1992 Constitution has given you right to education, you come to school and quote and unquote you be fooling around, and when you fail, you say that the school has failed you, so I'm taking the school to court. Please, let us be serious.
Yeah, so
in this country,
it means Akiola and Derek, those two tickets will not be allowed.
They are not going to be allowed
to the elections.
Exactly.
Now, the EC, quickly tell us, when are we going to have the elections, and what are some of the processes you have put in place? Is it going to be an online, solely online election, or is it going to be an online on-site election?
Thank you very much. So with pertaining to the elections, it's going to be online off-site, which means that wherever you are, provided you are able to activate your student email, you can access the link via your student email and then you cast your vote. That being said, before the elections, we are going to educate the electors, which is the student body, about how to go about some of the processes involved in voting. Yes, that being said, you all know that during revision week and exams week, such activities is not being allowed on campus. So right after exams, we're looking at 18th of this month, which is August. We will cast our vote and then elect our responsible leaders to lead the student front. Thank you very much.
Emphasis on
that's
responsible,
true. That's true.
responsible
because right works with responsibility.
And those were the words of the electoral commissioner. I mean, we've used this same system before. Last year we had online elections, and there were some allegations that the elections were rigged, and so some candidates actually challenged the outcome of the elections, and I think they had to be taken through a process where they went to the competing systems and they were allowed to audit some of the outcomes and all that. What are some of the measures we've put in place to counter some of those things? So
before I say that, we also got information about that. So when we drafted our CI, we made mention of the fact that the election is going to be online on-site, making sure that each and every person who is very interested in this election will come to the various polling stations to cast their votes. But consulting the authorities and dean of students, then looking at security issues and all that, and then they are also interested in having a very fair and then calm society for the students. So they made mention of the fact that when we do online on-site, it is going to promote gathering and then social gathering and all that. So that is what they want to prevent. And even with the online off-site, it can still happen. But with the issue of people getting or people rigging the election and all that, we have had various meetings with the director for UGSCS, and he has made mention of the fact that there is nothing like that. There is a misconception that there will be a unique link, or I mean an accessible link that anybody at all randomly can.
Particular day, some people were still yet to receive their codes so they can participate in the process, and so we had to start, and we ended the elections midway because people were not able to access their codes and all that, and that took the aspirants or candidates, I was one of them, it took them through a whole lot of stress. I mean, you exhaust all your resources that you have on that particular day, and they will reschedule the elections. What are some of the processes you have put in place to ensure that that doesn't happen? And should it happen, what are you going to do to compensate the candidates who are going to lose so much resources on that day?
First of all, like I said yesterday, we even engaged the director for UGCS, and then we made mention of the fact that some of the students have still not activated their link, and sometimes those are the students that will be, and sometimes those are the students that complain about the fact that they didn't receive their link and all that. So we have kick-started educating the student populace about the fact that they should activate their link, because before the day of election, I mean 2 or 3 days before the day of election, we will upload the links to the various students, those who are eligible to vote. So if you have not activated your link, you will not be able to access the voting link.
Your mail,
yes,
you can't.
Sorry, if you have not activated your student mail, you won't be able to access the voting link. So the most important responsibility for every student on campus, especially if you are interested in partaking in these elections, you should make sure that your student email is activated. Thank you very much.
All right. So thank you for coming with us to this very moment, and that was the Electoral Commissioner's First Deputy Electoral Commissioner of the University of Ghana Student Representative Council, and my brother, the PRO of the Electoral Commissioner. And so we had a very fruitful conversation on why some candidates have been disqualified and some of the processes they went through, and how they didn't came in to provide oversight and to make sure that things are calm. And so the Electoral Commissioner has assured us that on the 18th of this month, we are going to be having the elections, and so all students should take note and participate duly to elect responsible candidates or leaders to lead the student front.
You cannot be irresponsible.
To lead the student front.
And you still want to take, you still want to blame your irresponsibility on some people. It shouldn't happen like that.
I understand that bit. I understand that bit. So we are going to elect responsible leaders to lead us into the next academic year. And so thank you very much for staying with us up to this moment. And so I'll give you 1 minute or 30 seconds. You say a shout out to whoever you want to do, and then we
Oh, it's okay. Shout out to the sociology students. I'm currently the first deputy organizing secretary at the sociology department. And also shout out to the ASO, which is social work student association. Shout out to them. I'm currently the general secretary elect. We are trying to contribute our quota to the development of the student front. So you need to be responsible to be able to carry out such duties.
Right. So 30 seconds.
All right, thank you very much. Shout out to my members in the University of Ghana Parliament House. I happen to be the Speaker of that house. Shout out to them. Shout out to all discerning University of Ghana students. Shout out to the Dean of Students herself. Shout out to our cameraman. Shout out to yourself. Shout out to all of us.
Cameraman,
yes. So thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity.
All right. Thank you very much, and shout out to you too who are watching this particular video. And thank you very much for watching.